Welcome to Bon Jovi Discussions. Today I have my buddy Matt, who is a regular on this podcast when it comes to news. And buddy, do we have something to talk about today?
Oh
So,
my goodness, yes.
so just about 5 hours ago, we got the official trailer to the upcoming Bon Jovi documentary. Thank you, Goodnight, the Bon Jovi Story. And we're gonna dive deep into this, man. But before, what was your without going into detail about things, what was your initial reaction when you first saw it? Were you in there? I asked you a question. Here I am still talking. Did you watch the premiere of it? Like, did you go to
I
YouTube?
did.
Yeah,
Yeah. I had the reminder set to go off. I went ahead and set an alarm on my phone just in case,
yeah,
because I was like, I got to see this. I couldn't wait. And we got a clip, what, weeks ago or months ago,
mhm,
but this one went into more detail as to
yeah,
the documentary, and it's going to be awesome. I mean, if you're a Bon Jovi fan, you're going to love it. I mean,
yeah.
you can't.
It's funny too because like none of us knew this was coming today, and so like I wolfed down my lunch, because here in the eastern side, it was coming out at 12:15. On Pacific side, it was what, 9:15? Yeah, 9:15.
9:15.
And so I had my lunch around like 11:45 and 12, and like I'm just like wolfing it down because like I gotta go see the premiere. And like John did a little Q&A on the premiere comments. I think he only answered like two questions though. And they were basic questions, and one was if it was the end of the band or something. He goes, no, that we're just halfway there or something like that. But yeah, I watched the premiere and stuff, and man, we'll get into all the details, but like I was blown away. I posted this online earlier, but really that trailer it was so well done. And I'm not saying that because Bon Jovi is my favorite band and blah blah blah. It really it put me on a roller coaster of emotions because 1 second you're feeling celebratory, you're excited, you're fun, you're like, oh, I'm proud to be a fan. I love this band, and you're laughing and you're looking at all these different videos that they're putting in the trailer. And then all of a sudden then you start like having a tear in your eye because of what we're going to talk about here in a few minutes, with Richie and Jon and just the whole thing. And like it's just like a roller coaster of emotions. And man, I don't know about you. I'm not exaggerating here. How many times did you watch the trailer today?
Well, not as much as you, of course, but I bet I watched it 6 or 7 times. I mean, I really did.
Yeah,
And we talked about it on X.
yeah,
I got chills.
yeah,
Um, really did. I got goosebumps. So,
yeah. Man, I couldn't stop because like the thing is too, like this is like a 2 minute trailer, I think. And for anyone that's listening, I'm pretty sure that anyone that's listening to this podcast are absolute diehard Bon Jovi fans, have
oh yeah,
already seen the trailer. But just in case there's anybody on this that's not familiar with the trailer that we're talking about, go to the band's social media accounts, bonjovi.com, or I don't think it's on bonjovi.com yet, but on their YouTube account, they have it posted. Watch it. Um, so you mentioned the teaser a little bit ago. Oh, let me back up. So I wanted to say too, like I think like the first 5 times that I've watched it, and I'm absorbing so much. And you know me, I'm taking screenshots. I'm posting what I think about this part and that part. And like I'm not even watching the full trailer yet, and I'm just, in full fanboy mode, I guess. And I probably watched the trailer like 30, 40 times and finally absorbed everything.
right.
And but yeah, it was well done. But let's get into it. So you mentioned a little bit ago that we got like a little bit of a teaser a few weeks ago, and someone asked me that earlier. Like, well, because today was the official first trailer, and
Right.
someone posted a few weeks ago, or posted today. Well, I thought they put the trailer a few weeks ago. That's a teaser trailer, which means they only show like a 20-second clip. An official trailer is like when it's like in a movie theater before the movie starts. It's like a 2 or 3 minute trailer. So that's the difference there for anyone that's wondering. Um, this document, so there's a lot of mixed um posts out there because some media outlets are saying this and some media outlets are saying the other. So 100% guaranteed it does release on Hulu in the United States. I've been getting this question a lot on online, so that's why I'm saying this here. It 100% airs in the United States on April 26th on Hulu. It's a
Correct.
four-part series, and all four episodes come out that day.
Yep.
Now, here's the real question because some media outlets are saying this, some others are saying this. It's going to be on Disney Plus internationally, that's for sure. But does it come out on April 26th or does it come later? And then
Uh,
Latin America
I,
gets to watch it on Star Plus. But I think that's for sure later on. But I kind of wish um, the Bon
I,
Jovi account would post for sure what's going on with that because there's a lot of confusion with it.
yeah, I could have swore I read just today, and I may be wrong, but that it was the world premiere was going to be April 26th. And you're right. Here in America, it's going to be on Hulu, and I think internationally, it's going to be on Disney Plus.
Yeah,
Um, so I'd still like to know what time. That way, I know if I got to go to bed
yeah,
early or
yeah.
what I got to do.
I know you and me, like we're definitely gonna be able to watch on April 26th, and so like there's a part of me that wants to obviously I'm gonna watch it. And you know me, I want to go online and I want to post like just I'm gonna go crazy. Like I literally like made like 100 posts today just of the trailer. I can't imagine what I'm gonna be like when the documentary comes out. But that's the thing is like I don't want to spoil it for others who haven't gotten to see it.
Right. Yeah,
So that's the dilemma that I'm in. So I'll try to find a happy medium there.
that's
Um,
true. Because depending on what time it comes out, you know, you won't. It wouldn't bother you to stay up, starting at midnight and watch it. Me, it's hard for me to just to get up and start watching, a documentary at midnight. So I definitely wouldn't watch it. I doubt I would watch it at midnight myself. So I'd have to keep my Twitter turned off until until I got to see it.
yeah. Because I do think it comes out at midnight, which would be like Thursday night going into Friday morning. Um, and so you know me,
Oh yeah.
I'm gonna be up at I'm gonna watch the whole thing. That I think it's like a total 5 hours long. So
Okay. I
that's
was
gonna take
wondering.
yeah, that's gonna take me into early morning. So I'm gonna be quite busy. And it's funny too because Friday is my wife's and I's anniversary of when we first got together. Uh,
Wow.
and so we're spending because I'm gonna be rewatching it and so like I already told my wife it's Bon Jovi Day. We're gonna do our anniversary. But no, she's okay with that. It's just I sound like a bad husband here, but trust me, she gets it. We're
Oh
gonna
yeah.
we're gonna celebrate our anniversary that Saturday. So anyway, let's get into this a little bit, the trailer and stuff. Just quick couple notes too. So this documentary is really, you can tell by the trailer. So we've gone Access All Areas before in 1990, followed them on the New Jersey tour, but that wasn't really revealing anything. It just showed us them backstage and behind the scenes of the New Jersey tour. When We Were Beautiful came out in 2009 and or 2008. Well, 2009 it came out. And that kind of dived a little bit into um, deeper stuff, but it really didn't go deep. Like the band has always been really good about not airing their dirty laundry and keeping everything in the inner circle and stuff like that. I think this documentary is going to be a lot different because you face it, if you're going to put a documentary out there, you've got to put something out there that people are going to want to watch. For example, and we're going to get into it, Richie's departure.
Yep.
You know, so people are going to want to watch that because of you know of Richie's departure and stuff, and learning about more about that stuff. And so if a band puts something out, they got to go really deep and kind of expose some things. So I think this is going to be a really uh stuff that we've never heard of before in the band's organ. There's this a second clip where Richie's yelling at Doc, telling him to get the fuck out, from the '80s. Alec was saying something about he wouldn't see him, whoever him is. So anyway, so I think this is gonna be a very vulnerable documentary. And obviously, Jon talks about his vocal issues and stuff, and you could tell a lot, especially like that last minute clip, how hurt he is about it and how hurt he is talking about it.
Yep.
So I think this is going to be a very vulnerable trailer or documentary, but I also think it's going to be celebratory too, because we're celebrating 40 years of a band that we love so much. And so it's great, like this trailer was. It's going to be a roller coaster of emotions.
I agree with you. I think it's going to be very emotional.
I'll be crying like a big baby.
Dude, it's the part that we keep seeing, and even the teaser, and then this one, the official trailer with Jon being teary eyed. It's like, man, that's gut wrenching. I mean, that pulls on your heartstrings. So it's going to be really good. And then, like you touched on, Richie's in there. There's going to be a lot of information that I think a lot of people are not aware of that's going to come out of it. I
Yeah,
can't wait. I hope it is 5 hours long.
yeah. And the thing is too, is the documentary is going to be, obviously it's going to tell the band's history. And a lot of that you and I and other diehards are already going to know. We might pick up a little tidbit here and there. And for someone like me, that's like a Bon Jovi encyclopedia. You know, but I think there has to be this happy medium to where the general fans will learn a lot about this stuff, but the diehards like you and me and others will really get into the deeper stuff, like Richie's departure, the vocal problems, and the deeper stuff that we haven't able to have heard all
Yeah.
these years. So let's get, what, before I get into all my topics, what was your favorite part of the trailer?
I mean, I hate to go with the obvious one, but Richie Sambora. Um, I mean, we all know pretty much what happened. But I think the documentary is going to go into great detail as to what happened. I think the emotional parts of it, I think that'll be some of Jon's emotion. I think you're going to see that. The vocal issues, are going to come into play. But I would say the thing I'm most excited to see and hear about is the issues with Richie and him leaving, and just hearing more behind the stories on that.
Yeah.
And I think, as you can tell in the trailer, that's going to be a big selling point.
Yeah. And one thing that really, like, when I first started watching this trailer, that was the very first thing that really pulled, and then they showed it right in the beginning, Richie. And there's two lines in that whole trailer that really just pulls you in. The first one was, I don't want to misconstrue the line here, so I wrote it down. My notes are just terrible. Um, it was along the lines of, "All right, so are we telling the truth, or do
Are
you
we
want
going to lie?
to,
Yep.
And I think that's purposely put in there because
Me too.
you want everyone to realize that we're telling the truth, and this is the truth,
Exactly. Yep.
no sugarcoating. And the other line, and this is the biggest one, I don't regret leaving, but I regret how I left.
Yep.
You And so that says a lot. So I think that really shows you, because and we won't get too deep into this because it's not about Richie's departure, it's about the documentary here.
Yep.
But in 2013, there was so much. Um, I don't. I'm going to go into a rabbit hole if I talk about it. But so that it's kind of unique that Richie talks about it, and then Jon, obviously talks a little bit about it in the trailer too, and they have a headline and stuff, and so that was cool. And I'll just say this, just to say it, I will always love and support Richie, whatever he decides, whether he's in the band, solo wise, and so
Absolutely.
I'm really glad he is in this documentary, just so he
Me
can
too.
his, and I think this is a way to of the band Richie to kind of say what happened
Yep.
truthfully, not having the media make up stuff. So yeah, so I was really happy to see Richie in this documentary and stuff. And and I love the little clip where he's singing Bad Medicine,
Oh
after
yeah.
they show him in the music video for it, and that was cool. um I gotta tell you, my favorite, I don't say it's a favorite, but I will tell you a part of that documentary that just gave me chills. Dude, I had chills all over my neck, my face, my ears, my back, was when towards the end, when John says, "I want out of here," and what I meant was out of Bon Jovi.
Yeah.
I'm saying it now. I just got goosebumps saying it, man. That was like the most chilling part of the trailer there. And like as he's saying that, you see John walking up to. No, I don't want to say this in the wrong. Just like seeing him so candid and raw. And then they show. I think they show like a clip of him from when we were beautiful documentary when he's in the back of a car and just stressed and stuff. And I would bet you that is probably there. He's probably talking about the end of the New Jersey era there. Like right when he was doing, the Blaze of Glory thing and going on a cross country trip on his bike. Um, I'm thinking that's the part that he's talking about. But what was your reaction when you first saw that clip?
Totally unexpected, you
Yeah,
know. Um, I didn't expect that. I mean, that just goes to show you the raw emotion that the documentary is going to have and the truthfulness to it. It's gonna. I mean, I hate to make it sound this way, but kind of like we were talking earlier, it is going to air their dirty laundry.
yeah,
But it's also going to give you a deep, intimate look into the band and from several perspectives. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I think they interviewed Doc McGee on this documentary as well. That wasn't in
yep,
the trailer, but there's going to be, I didn't expect, uh, not to give it away, but Bruce Springsteen was in the trailer. Didn't expect to see him in there. So it's going to be really eye opening. But
yeah,
yeah, that was very unexpected for,
yeah. But
to hear John say that in the trailer.
yeah, just to hear those lines, "I want out of here," and what it meant was out of Bon Jovi. And like right there, like, okay, that's the end of Bon Jovi then, because you're the leader, you're the namesake
Right.
of this band. If you're not in the band, there's no Bon Jovi. And so I guarantee you that they're probably talking about the end of the New Jersey era when they were just burnt out. And John absolutely 100% should have, or I respect that he felt that way, because I mean, you and I both know how burnt out they were at that time. So I'm
Right.
really looking forward to that clip. And that's the thing about this documentary too, is that they're taking little clips out of these interviews and stuff, and you don't know what it's come from, if it's being taken out of content. So I'm looking forward to that. That part was just really chilling to me. You mentioned Bruce Springsteen. I had a feeling he was going to be in that. Um, and so it was kind of cool that he talks. What was the he wrote? He says John's chorus is demanded to be sung by 20,000 people in an arena,
Yep.
and and as soon as I saw that, I woke up and be like, "Fuck that! How about 1 million people in a stadium?" You know,
Right.
or I thought of during remember the Lost Highway tour? They did the desert. What was that called? Um, Abu Dhabi, maybe.
Yeah. Abu Dhabi, where they played in the
Yeah,
desert. Yep.
and I was like, yeah, that is more fitting. But I still thought it was cool that Bruce said that and stuff. And what a huge honor for John to have Bruce Springsteen come on the documentary.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
Um, so that was pretty cool. Um, I like that Obi was in there. They don't show him talking. I'm sure they will in the documentary. But he says I thought this was like a really cool part of the trailer. The energy of the band, undeniable, like a freight train coming at you.
Yeah. Uh, Absolutely. I mean, John prides himself on the band being full of energy and bringing it every single night. I I made the statement the other day. I would be, there's some artists out there that are notorious for showing up late to their concerts or canceling shows or whatever. And
Yeah,
John prides himself on the band uh, being one for the fans and performing every single night up to their standard. I mean, even I'm sure the documentary is going to go into the vocal issues. I mean, he said that as well. Like, I don't want to go out there and perform for an hour. I want to go out there and perform like I'm used to been performing for 2.5 hours a night.
exactly. And that legacy, which we'll get into here in a second. I know my second favorite part of this too was, so I know you didn't go to which show did you and I go to? Rally
No, we went to Raleigh. We
in
didn't
22.
go. You went to Nashville. I didn't go.
Yeah.
I'm kicking myself for not going, but yeah, I didn't make it.
Yeah, so two of my favorite things was that they showed John, because every show of the 22 tour, John always came up and started the show on stage. In
Yep,
Nashville, he started in the middle of the crowd with Living on a Prayer, so they show a clip of that. But
yep.
what I really loved, and this is probably one of my favorite moments. So I've been to about 70 Bon Jovi shows. Not that that means anything, but one of my favorite absolute moments was out of all the shows that I've seen was at the Nashville show when the band did "I'll Be There for You." Because just to kind of give some context here, John at the end. So Nashville was the very last show of the tour, as you know, and they finished their set, and so John came back and said, "Okay, we'll do one more," and he gave a speech about that the whole 2022 tour was just about to see if they could still do it again, if they could keep the machine going. And I don't think we realized at the time he was probably talking about his vocals.
Right. Agreed.
And so, anyway, so they did "I'll Be There for You." And at the end, John did something that he's never done before, where he was really, and you could tell he was really emotional during that performance. And at the end, um, for anyone that's listening, just go to YouTube, type in Bon Jovi, "I'll Be There for You" Nashville 2022. You'll see what I'm talking about. And so at the end, you know how he does with like "This Ain't a Love Song" over the years, where he'll finish the show with the song and then kind of walk off the stage and then the show ends. That's what he did with "I'll Be There for You." But he started to walk down the stairs and he came back up a little bit and he goes, "Remember that." And then takes a good look at the crowd for like a solid like 20 seconds and then goes down the stage and the band finishes the song, and that's the end of the show. And I'll admit it, I was crying like a big baby at that show because of the speech that he had given before that song. And I wasn't the only one. I looked around, there's so many other people crying because there was that question, will we ever see Bon Jovi live again? Because we knew that there
Yep.
were struggles with singing. The way that John was kind of portraying about everything, like it just made you wonder. Anyway, I'm going off on a tangent here, but so in the trailer, and I want to get this printed in a big photo. I want to get it framed because this is one of my favorite moments that I've ever seen. They have a picture of John standing on this staircase, looking at the audience from that part. So
Yep.
I really am happy that they put that in there, and I wonder if John will touch on what I just said in the documentary. You know?
Yeah, it'd be cool, especially you being there. That would make it awesome.
Yeah,
I definitely, I mean, we know the vocal issues will be touched on. So uh, I'm quite sure. I would venture to say, yeah, I'm sure they probably will.
yeah. And I know I'm kind of going so deep into this right now, but I think if anyone who was at the show understands how emotional and how vulnerable John was, the fans were, the band at that show, and it was just incredible. But moving on, I want to talk about like the last 20 seconds of the trailer, showing a lot of John's vulnerable moments. And obviously he talks about the vocal. There's one part where I think he's in his New York City apartment and he's got like this machine in front of him, and I think it's like doing an extra something because he's got safety glasses on, X-ray
Yep.
glasses. And so I think they were, doing something there. You saw two clips of John backstage on the 2022 tour. You see one of him on the couch. I think it was post show where he's just kind of catching his breath and relaxing. Um, and then the other one was him walking across the dressing room. He had the Rolling Stone shirt on that he wore on the 22 tour. Um, so what else was there? There was, obviously, showing him in the car from 2008.
In the
Um,
hospital bed when he.
the hospital. I'm glad you brought that one up too. The hospital bed. And that I remember seeing the teaser trailer.
Yep.
Um, and they showed that clip, that picture of him in the hospital bed, with the "I'm good" sign. Obviously, he couldn't talk because it's post surgery. And so I remember like seeing that for the first time. That gave me chills. Did the same thing with this trailer too. And then I also loved, the very ending too, where they showed John in the studio with Obi. And I wonder what they were doing there because they talk about hitting those high notes. And that's obviously living our prayer. We've heard that quote unquote joke over the years. So we know that they're talking about prayer there. So I wonder what they were doing in the studio when they were talking. They were just having a chat and bringing it up, or I don't know.
I don't know because that was obviously, yeah, a recent video, so it definitely makes you wonder, no doubt.
Yeah. And one last thing that I did want to say too is I loved the quote that they add in at the that John says at the end. With every decade comes another life lesson. It's all or nothing. That's why the legacy matters. You know?
Yeah, I mean, he definitely prides himself in the band and the legacy of the band, which, looking at it now, they've been around for 40 years. Most people have formed their opinion of John and the band by now. So
Yeah.
what better time to, quote unquote, air the dirty laundry, get everything out in the open because everybody wants to see it,
Yeah.
and the opinion has already been formed.
Yeah.
So I don't think they have to worry about any of their image being tarnished or anything like that. So I think it's a great time, to put out the documentary. And let's touch on the fact that, you know, I don't know how much good came out of COVID, but this is one of the good things that came out of COVID. It gave them the time, I guess, to slow down and to create this documentary.
Yeah.
The backstage with John Bon Jovi, even though I know we're not talking about that, but that's some good that's came out of it. That it probably would have been years down the road before we'd gotten to see that had COVID not happened. So
Yeah. I agree with you. The pandemic really allowed them to kind of go deep in the archives and put stuff out there, and they work on this documentary too. And man, I can't wait. I'm sure we're probably gonna get another trailer here at some point. Probably show a lot of the same, like movies do. Shows you a lot of the same clips, but there's always something a little extra that they knew that we haven't seen. So. But I truly am just as a fan, I am truly proud of the band and the trailer and the crew that's worked on this. You know,
yep,
um, so it's gonna be really good. And I want to add one more thing too. How well they made the music into this documentary trailer. It was "Living on a Prayer."
yep,
And it worked perfectly. They're like, the way that like the drums, like for example, like there was like one part where John Stone his fist in the air, and the song "Living on a Prayer" in the drums. Yeah, I can't explain it right now. I'm going on 6 hours, 5 hours of sleep last night.
well, the When We Were Beautiful documentary that came out, that was one of the biggest things. Every time I watch that documentary, I get chills, and that's one of the reasons why the music, uh, how it's blended into the storytelling, um, makes it a great documentary. And
Yeah,
I don't have any doubt this one's going to be just as good or better.
yeah,
So
exactly. Was there anything else that you wanted to say? I know I kind of told a book here with a lot of.
no, I I think you touched on all of it. You know, John being teary eyed. That's you know John showing the raw emotion
Yeah,
and Richie, doing storytelling
yeah,
as to what's going to happen, as to what happened in 2013.
yeah.
Both of those two things are going to be highlights for myself that I can't wait to see.
And a lot of things that the general fans or the general public won't realize is that John has never shown this vulnerability.
No,
Richie has never
absolutely
opened
not.
up about his departure. The band has never talked a lot about how, I mean, they have about the 80s and stuff, but like there's gonna be a lot of stuff that we've never seen the band talk about. And like I said, they never air their dirty laundry, and I don't think they're gonna put everything out there. Obviously, like
Of course not.
like
Right.
in Just Older, John says there'll be secrets that we'll take to our grave. You know,
Yep.
there's some things like the vocals, Rich's departure that they're really gonna touch on, and probably more that we don't know about. But so I think for the general fans and stuff, I think they're gonna be really surprised because never seen John open up and be this vulnerable before. You know,
Yeah.
so
Something we
we're
didn't
definitely.
touch on,
Oh, good.
something we didn't touch on, and it's not in the documentary, but it's going to be there is, Alec's death.
I'm glad you brought that
So
up. Yes. So, um, yeah, obviously we're going to see like vintage interviews, and I wonder because this really didn't start filming, I think, till early 22, late 21, I think. So we know that Alec died in June 22, and there's no clips of him so far. I don't think, and I don't think he's interviewed at all. And I
yeah,
think he died so suddenly in the early stages of this documentary because I don't think Richie was even filmed until late 22 for this documentary. Um,
yeah, yeah. I don't know if he'll be in there or not, but they'll touch on it
yeah,
one way or the other.
yeah. They'll definitely talk about the history of the bit because I think with a 4 episode, they're going to talk about each decade. And obviously, they get into the crossroad 1994 era, Alec's departure. So I wonder, like they talked about in Behind the Music, and that's the only time that they ever talked about Alec's departure. Even in interviews back then, John wouldn't talk about it. And in Behind the Music, have you saw that, right?
I don't think I have.
Dude, come on.
I
All right,
know.
you got a project tonight. So watch me. It really doesn't say anything that you and I don't already know. It's pretty basic, but
Okay.
they only spent like 30 seconds on Alec's departure in that. And anyway, Alec declined to be interviewed for that. Um, and then John and Richie, were very respectful and polite about it and stuff, but they just said that they had to fire him and so on. So I think with this documentary, with it being a quote unquote tell all, I really think they'll probably dive a little deeper in Alec's departure on what happened and so on. And if
Right.
they don't, I respect that. But I think
Yep.
they will. I will be curious to know though if Alec is in the documentary talking to, and if it's not, it's sad. I mean, I understand because I'm rambling here. I know it's sad because he died right on the early stages of this production. So who knows? If they do show him, I'm gonna cry like a big baby. Um, it would be nice if they do dedicate this documentary in his honor.
Well, yeah, I was just thinking that. Surely there'll be some sort of dedication in there.
Yeah. So we'll see. Anyway, was there anything else that you wanted to say about the documentary trailer?
No, that's pretty much it. Yep.
All
Can't
right.
wait.
All right, buddy. Stay on. Let me end this. Thank you for coming on. I know we started to text about it right when it came out and stuff, and I was like, oh, we gotta do an episode. It's funny because we just spent the last half hour talking about a 2-minute trailer.
Trailer. Yeah. Yeah, we got problems.
Yeah. But I joked with my son. I told my son I gotta do a podcast. He goes, for what? I go, oh, Bon Jovi released a trailer. He goes, you're doing an episode about that? I go, yep. All right, buddy. Thank you.
Yep. Thank you.